Yes, thank you for the possibility to give a live classroom session here. We today speak about the BRIM overview training announcement. At the moment, we have training AC230 BRIM overview in place in the Learning Hub. And at the moment, I'm updating this training according to CRM, to the architecture, and also to the FIORI Launchpad. And I will add some additional features like chapter about the BRIM RA integration. But today I start to give you an overview about the BRIM process completely from the beginning to the end. I'm busy in BRIM processes since around 10 years so far, and I'm also owner of this AC230 and BR230 BRIM training. Be aware that we have a renaming according to the BRIM trainings. Before the name was AC according to accounting, but we have found out that's maybe easier to have all renamed to BR. So if you're looking for a training, maybe you check both. The other trainings that belong to BRIM are also renamed at the moment. So I give you an overview what I want to share today in this session with you. First of all, I want to give you an overview about the BRIM solution landscape, that you get an idea what belongs to the solution landscape. Then I have a lot of industry examples with me. I want to share ideas in which architectures and why customers use BRIM. And additionally, I have with me some material out of the training which explains the objects and the BRIM data model to give you an overview how this landscape works together. So we start with a BRIM solution landscape now. BRIM for billing and revenue innovation management is the SAP solution to solve subscription and consumption business models. And we have not only here one function or one module. We have a complete solution that is built up out of different software pieces. And the business model can be designed according to different industry needs. And that's the reason why BRIM is used in so many different industry and why it's so flexible. But all in all, we use BRIM if we don't have inventory goods in place like hardware. Hardware is still sold via the sales and distribution part. But we use BRIM if we have a subscription and consumptions. And subscription and consumptions are used in a lot of business use cases. If you remember your own life, you have a lot of subscriptions. For example, you have a subscription for sports, you have a subscription for your newspaper, you have a subscription for different apps. And if you think about B2B business cases, there are also a lot of subscriptions in place, like for software licenses, you have subscriptions, or you have a lot of consumption. If you send a parcel industries, we have a lot of consumptions. Not for all business use case you will use BRIM, but BRIM is very good scalable according to a high volume, and BRIM is also scalable according to special industry needs. It's flexible to add attributes and so on. So in a lot of industries like high-tech, telecommunication, parcel and transportations have high requirements and very complex requirements according to the software, and they have BRIM in place. We have pricing configuration here. This is possible to adapt this pricing configuration according to very complex pricing constellations. And we have at the first part, the subscription and order management. We are able to adapt the order management according to technical integrations, like technical integration to a network. According to the usage metering and transaction pricing, we are able to solve high volume pricing problems, like in telecommunication industries, where a lot of traffic has to be priced. This is no problem for the BRIM solution to scale according to high volume. Then we have billing, receivables, and collections. I think you already know that SAP is very strong according to finance, and we have for high volume transactions according to receivables, financial contract accounting in place. Financial contract accounting does not integrate directly into FIGL, to the general ledger, because it's more reasonable to collect and reconcile the receivables and the accountings before to send them to general ledger. The BRIM solution is also very strong in partner revenue sharing. I think you know also a lot of examples where a bundle is sold to a customer, but in this bundle, there are also partner products included. And you then have later to share the revenue with a partner, but it's often reasonable that one participant of the sharing collects the money from the customer. So that's the overview, and we will go on to see what is important. So as I already mentioned, we have different business models that we support here, depending, and this is important, on subscriptions and real-time usage. So we focus with BRIM on subscription and real-time usage here. We support different business models. As you have already heard, we have B2B business models where we have, for example, master agreements and discount models in place, but we also have the normal B2C models where it's more important to scale to high volume. We can, with a BRIM solution, support prepaid or postpaid models, depending on the rule-based for invoicing and accounting. Sometimes it's also a mixture between prepaid and postpaid because you give sometimes gifts to the customer of specials, marketing activities where the price is different, or you have the possibility to use payment in advanced models. This is supported by BRIM. We also support multi-site revenue models, as I already explained, where you can share revenue models and where you can also move the risk to the partner, because you can wait until the customer has paid the invoice. BRIM is very important for a lot of industries because it can be scaled to a high volume, and there is, I don't know any industry restrictions that we can't fulfill according to the volume. If we have a view to the complete process now, we start with the process at the subscription and order management. We have to manage customers, orders, and contracts. It depends what industry you have, but you always have a starting point. You handle the master data in a product catalog and offer management. In general, you have an order capture, because it's not always clear that an order comes to a contract, because sometimes it's for example, for TV or telecommunication, it's not always possible to deliver what the customer orders. Sometimes it depends on the destination where you live or something like this. So we have the order capture process where a customer selects the combination of products and where we sell bundles to the products. We will also keep the commercial part of the site. If it comes to a contract, the contract needs to be distributed in the whole BRIM landscape. The contract is then distributed to the convergent charging component as well and to the convergent invoicing component, because the billing and invoicing is done on the base of the contract. It's important in a subscription's lifetime that you are able to handle change processes, because most subscriptions have a long lifetime, and it's important to track the changes according to the whole landscape. So the first part is a subscription and order management, and this is then also captured by S/4HANA service, subscription and order management. And we have also one training according to this component. This is the BR234 training. I think at the moment it's still with the name AC234, but it will be renamed to the BR. So if you're interested, you can also visit it as a learning hub product, or you can also have a classroom according to this component. The next is then the convergent mediation. This is delivered by our partner Digital Route. With convergent mediation, we collect from different network components or different usage types. We collect the usage data records and we make them handleable for convergent charging. Convergent charging is then our rating and charging system, and it will find the correct contract that is behind the usage and will assign the usage to the correct contract in order to find there the correct pricing models. With convergent charging, we are able to use it in very high volume industries. It has perfect performance sources, and the output is then a so-called billable item. The billable item is then transferred to convergent invoicing. Convergent invoicing is an open is a product where you can easily add different services, also from different other rating systems or other contract systems. And convergent invoicing handles then the so-called provider contract. And with provider contract, we have assigned billing plans. These billing plans can create the recurring charges. And also one-offs are collected here, and the billable items that were created according to usages. With convergent invoicing, we are able to handle as well prepaid and postpaid subscriptions, and we are also able to control partner revenue share and settlement. Especially for B2B processes, it's important to have master agreements and complex discounts in place. And in a lot of industries, for example, in telecommunication industries, it's often used to have a re-rating in place, because it's possible that usage has a late income and needs to be re-rated. We have then document presentment by open text in place for invoices, and we have the customer financial management. The financial contract accounting includes revenue management, credit management, payment handling, and online bill presentment. We also have the financial customer care in place, which includes collections and dispute management. So this is for a first step, an overview about the whole landscape. We have different trainings behind. We have a convergent charging training. This is BR235. We also train convergent invoicing, which is BR245, and we have financial contract accounting, which is BR240. So if you're interested to go into deep process understandings, you can use the material in the learning room for that. With the training now, with the BR230 training, we have the situation that we changed the architecture from the CRM, which was included into the BRIM solution, and we now have the S/4HANA in place. This is, to be honest, not correct anymore. In 1809, it was called SAP for Customer Management. It is now called, it's the same solution, but it's called for Service Subscription Order Management. So sorry for that, I have to change this. But there is a very large part of the complete solution is on SAP S/4HANA now. So we have the subscription order management in S/4HANA. We have digital route as a convergent mediation system by our partner. It's not running on S/4HANA, and we have SAP convergent charging. It can be run on a HANA database, but it's a Java application. But we then have integrated the convergent invoicing, which belongs to FICA, and the contract accounts receivable and payables, and the credit management and financial customer care. So here with the orange box, you see all this is running on one platform, and that makes it much more attractive than the architecture was before with a CRM system, because we have only 3 systems anymore. I'm quite proud because with the update of the material, we can then use all BRIM processes via FIORI Launchpad. This is new in the training. We start with the subscription and order with one exercise. Then we have the submit to a subscription contract. We also have the change processes in place that are done according to the subscription contract. We also have one exercise to create master agreement, and we then check the distribution and the landscape and create billing plan, create request billing plan items from the billing plan. And we run a rating process and a billing and invoicing process. And we also have the reconciliation to the general ledger later. So we have the complete process in BRIM, starting from the order and ending with a reporting to general ledger in this training. And we also are able to run this via the completely via FIORIs now. Now I have brought with me one picture out of the training material. That is a BRIM data model to give you an overview where the process steps are located. We have a cloud selection service which can be configured in our training, and we start with a subscription order in the service module and SOM with a FIORI that you have seen just before. And we have a configurable product in our material, which is configured with the advanced variant configurator. And in this variant configuration, you can select the service level of the product in our training example between pay-as-you-go, silver, and gold. And after the configuration, we submit the subscription order and get a subscription contract. This subscription contract is then distributed to financial contract accounting, whereas a master data, we have a contract account in place that is used also in the subscription order. And it's also distributed for later charging, rating and charging processes to the convergent charging. It depends always on the view of the system. The convergent charging as a charging system has a more technical view. We have charge plans assigned that are relevant to find for the usage, for example, of a telephone call or a CPU usage with the technical parameters, the correct tariffs that is assigned to the provider contract. Therefore, we have the structure of a charge plan assigned and also different charges for CPU, RAM, and bandwidth in our example. And with the upcoming of usage consumption events, so usage, we call here one data record usage data record. This is the abbreviation. The convergent mediation has a role to prepare, collect, find and delete duplicates. So the convergent mediation prepares it to find the correct structure. Then the events are uploaded to convergent charging, and with the mapping to the correct provider contract, we can then assign the correct price and who has to pay the usage fee. We have then here the convergent invoicing, which is collecting all bits. Bits is an abbreviation for billable items, but we also have some more billable items. We can have, for example, out of the contract or order, an activation fee for a service. And we also can have some more inputs like recurring fees for the service, which can come either out of the recurring charges of the convergent charging, or this is the other variant that we can have in place, that we use billing plans in convergent invoicing in order to create monthly recurring fees. The advantage is now that we have an S/4HANA master data. We reuse business partner in the landscape, and we also have product configurations, build conditions, prices. For prices, for example, we use sales distribution, pricing and condition logic, and we also have technical resources in place that we need. For example, for mobile, you have your mobile number, or you can also use an IP address in context of software related services. The next process step is then we collect in convergent invoicing all billable items, and depending on the months that they belong to, we have a pre-aggregation in convergent invoicing that assists us to manage the volume. With a pre-aggregation, we create so-called billing documents. This is in some kind an artificial terminology, because we don't distribute the billing documents to the customer or to other systems. It is just a possibility to do a pre-aggregation before the invoicing. Because imagine if you have a very high volume industry, it makes totally sense to have daily pre-aggregations before you create a monthly invoice. And this is then the in-between step. The invoice document then is posted to the customer again. And with the invoicing, we also create FICA documents for the open item management and also for the revenues. In case we have a customer who needs a revenue recognition and reporting, we also have the possibility to integrate to BRIM the FIORA solution, which is more or less an additional accounting view on the already existing operational situation. After posting of the FICA documents, we get maybe incoming payments of the customers, or we have to create maybe dispute cases. This is then the financial contract accounting management. It's also important that for a lot of industries, we have service platforms in place that need to be contacted here also via the technical order, because we have to order technical services, for example, for software solutions or telecommunication networks. So I have now a lot of business examples with me in order to give you some ideas where and why customers use BRIM. My first example belongs to postal industries. I don't call the name. I don't give the customer the correct name. So it's really existing, but I don't use a name here. So our first example is Parcel X, is a postal company in North America. Parcel X customers are B2B customers, which complex customer hierarchies. For example, an online shop in New York, or fresh food New York, or a postal shop, and so on. That means we also have master agreements for different customer groups that are realized in BRIM. So we have to handle different discount structures here. The requirement in postal industries is that they need to have very configurable price models where they can use their own industry-specific characteristics. And the industry-specific characteristics are, for example, a surcharge for CO2 or an insurance. And it's sometimes depending on the destination, if it's inland, if it's an island, or so on. So you have a very complex price model because you have so many different price categories. Often they define fees depending on delivery zones. Is it far away, short distance, long distance? And the goods often have a lot of dimensions like weight, length, and so on. Then additionally, you can make a difference between channels, road or air freight, and you also have a service, different service levels at tracking level. But I think we are all familiar in some way with postal industries because we order a lot of goods via postal. So, okay, that was my first example for a BRIM industry. So my second example is from railway industries. In Railway X is operating a large railway net in Europe. The company offers different tariff types for different customer groups. For example, we have prepaid tariffs. We have a subscription-based discounting, like flat fees or 50% price reductions. As you also know, you have different types of railway, and we have revenue sharing with other operating companies like local bus companies, local taxis, railway operating companies in other countries. This is very often. So these customers use BRIM in order to bill and settle their services that they offer internally and externally, and they use it as a platform operator. Here, usage is represented by a journey from point A to point B, for example. That means they are operating, they're using BRIM in order to operate their platforms and to have payments and revenue sharings shared with other platform operators or local partners or end customers. I think we all have now an idea about this industry. And I'd like to go on with the next industry. We have here a business example out of high tech. To be honest, SAP its own runs also BRIM for the cloud services that we offer, and we use BRIM for the cloud services and as well in order to revenue the Ariba platform. So we have, I think, 3 or 4 lines of business that are also operated in BRIM. But here I have a very interesting example. I have a mix out of soft and hardware, and Soft and Hard Mix is a multinational company in high-tech industry with B2C and B2B business. It develops, manufactures, licenses, supports and sells computer software and consumer electronic, personal computers and related services. This is interesting because we have here the use of bundles and we bundle here hard and software. And as you know, for example, from some telecommunication tariffs, the operating view could be different in those bundles than the accounting view, because if you as a customer buy a mobile for €1 because it's included in telecommunications subscription contract, this is not the real accounting view on the situation. That means those customers have to have an accounting view on those bundles, and according to their legal rules, they have to correct the operational view according to the correct accounting view. That means those customers use as well integrated to BRIM financial revenue accounting as an additional subledger in order to create the legally correct accounting view on operational revenue of hard and software bundles. Okay, and this is also an example that a lot of industries change their business models from vendoring hardware products to recurring revenue business models. This is not only in the high-tech industry with consumer electronic and computer, it's also with larger manufacturers and also in healthcare that a lot of industries try to change their business models from selling goods to creating a recurring revenue business model. And BRIM, as you see with this example, supports this transformation. They also have convergent mediation in place because they have diverse technical data sources that make it reasonable to use convergent mediation to improve data quality according to completeness and integrate new service without revenue leakage. So this is one example out of high-tech industry, and you can add SAP as one example as well. Then I have another business example. This belongs to financial service. This is a process transaction to payment. A lot of credit card companies have also high volume transaction businesses in place, and they use similar to a platform operator, BRIM, in the process transaction to payment. In financial service, you have the following challenges. You have an extreme high volume, and the number of transactions is still growing because we more and more use cards instead of cash. This makes the volume of transactions growing. Normally, you have 3 until 4 or more partners involved in those transactions. And you also have business customer with negotiated master agreements. For example, discounter, or maybe also customers like SAP that use a credit card for their partner and own people. And you also have a very complex bonus tracking. For example, you want to collect service miles and upgrade and downgrade service levels. You have also sometimes insurances included. So this is also some kind of bundle. I've just brought up a picture here which shows the interchange fees that we have between a customer and a dealer. The customer buys something, buys a good, he pays with a payment, with a credit card, the payment, and then we have different transfers between the customer bank and the bank of the dealer, the license fees and the credit cards and so on. I think it's, if you think about it, easy to understand that this is also a high volume and a very complex business. Okay, and now I just want to introduce the last step, the business example that we use in the training, because this goes through all trainings to make it easier to break the example step by step one deeper. We have I use a cloud selection service. The cloud selection service has different service level options. The first level option is pay as you go. With the first service level options, you don't have free capacity, don't have free CPUs, free RAM or bandwidth included. And you have a price that is listed here for 5 cents per CPU hour. And you have here a tariff of 4 cents per hour. And for bandwidth, you have cumulated prices here. That means in the range of 1 to 10,000 per month, you have the price of €5. That means because of these different types, you have both bandwidth, you have to a deferred rating in place in order to show how the price model influences then the process setup. With the next step, we have a silver. For silver, we have to add, depending on the variant configuration, a surcharge of €1,000 because the service level is higher. That means we have to check here the service level for the price of the recurring fee. The base fee is €1,000. So for pay as you go, you pay each month €1,000. And for silver, you pay each month €1,000, additionally 1,000 surcharge. So in the end, you pay monthly 2,000 with 2 price components. We also have to select for the usage evaluation if we have silver or pay as you go in place, because silver has another price. It's a bit cheaper. So including the silver, you also get a different price on the usage. And it's the same then with Goat. So our cloud selection service that we use in the training example is used in all trainings, in all BRIM trainings, to make it easier to follow the example. And but it's also complex enough to get an idea what you can do with BRIM and how BRIM supports processes. Okay, that just wants to give you an overview what you can expect in the other trainings. So all in all, BRIM helps to decrease the percentage of revenue and is a single solution and platform landscape. We also have a benchmark according to convergent invoicing, according to volume. I think you find it in the Learning Hub. And also we have a new benchmarking according to convergent mediation and convergent invoicing. So there are some benchmark papers available in the Learning Hub. I think that's all for now.